Kalen DeBoer strikes again. Another big-time recruit after last week's visit has committed to Alabama. So after losing all of those players when Nick Saban retired, now all of a sudden Alabama is starting to build back momentum, and Kalen DeBoer is starting to kill it on the recruiting trip. We're going to talk about that today and more. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and follow. Give us a thumbs up. Roll Tide, everybody. Let's get this thing started. What do you say, everybody? I'm Mick, Gillispie. Oh, there he is, the catfish. Chad Anderson, you know him. At this catfish is real. No, at this Chad is real. I'm at broadcaster Mick. Welcome to the party presented by newlifeart.com. Don't forget, Chad or Mr. Catfish, that the promo code Bama Tailgate gets you 15% off a regularly priced item at newlifeart.com. And you got to get all the Nick Saban stuff now because next year you're going to have to put DeBoer up when he wins a championship.
That's right.
Great to see you, man. I'll tell you what, this guy has been doing it. How about this? For the second day in a row, yesterday, Alabama popped a 4-star recruit in Noah Carter, an edge man. He was one of the guys that came to Tuscaloosa last weekend on that visit, and DeBoer has been getting one after the other.
Well, this is one of those things Alabama's just known for. And I know it's a new coaching staff. It's a new everything. But all you have to do is point and say Dallas Turner, Will Anderson. Mm-hmm. You know, those were the last two guys that were, playing in that linebacker position or down on the edge or on the ends and, just wreaking havoc. And Will Anderson went, third overall in the draft. Dallas Turner is going to be a top 10 pick, I think projected right now at 7 maybe or 6, something like that at the moment. So even though it's a different staff, it's a different defensive coordinator, all those things, this is the type of football and the type of brand and just the culture and what Alabama is known for. You go back and look at any coach, and other than the Pete Golding era, Alabama just all – you loved that. The Pete Golding era. Other than him, Alabama, no matter if they were 4-9, Mick, or if they were 14-0, they still had a defense that was worthy enough to show up for SEC football. So I think Noah Carter is going to really enjoy his time, and I'm really excited to see what Kane Womack does as well with some of these stars.
Yeah, he's a 4-star. That's out of Peoria, Arizona. He was released from his NIL at Washington earlier this month. And then, he followed DeBoer. He's always wanted to play for DeBoer. Thinks DeBoer is the best coach in the country. He was the 2023 Arizona High School Defensive Player of the Year, a 6'3", 218-pound edge rusher. And I think it was on 3. He was the number 25 edge rusher and the number 3 player in the state of Arizona. So number 25, I think, in the country, and number 3 player in Arizona. So this is a good one for, obviously, for DeBoer. And I think it really shows a trend here. People were kind of trying to describe this guy as Brian Harsin. You're right. Like that was you know what? He's going to be like Brian Harsin, who came from out west and just didn't fit in. And I said, it doesn't work like that. Your personality is your personality. And it doesn't matter where you're from. If you come to the South and you're genuine and you get along with people, you'll be just fine. And yesterday, he obviously gets Carter. The day before that, he got Ryan Williams to recommit. And I think that's a huge recommitment, just kind of looking back at it now. Because this is the number 1 player in the state, right? This is the guy that you want to have. I mean, this is a Julio Jones type of moment for DeBoer. This guy left, and he gave DeBoer and Ryan Grubb a chance, and he decided to commit to Alabama. Now, he hasn't signed yet. That comes in February. He's got money being thrown at him from all over the place. But I felt like getting that commitment back from Ryan Williams was honestly, besides Downs leaving, was the second worst, I think, feeling during all of the stuff that was going on when Saban retired. And now he's back. And I think it really shows that DeBoer's out there doing his thing.
Yeah, there's a few things on this. So I agree with you. It's like a Julio Jones thing because they're just huge stars in the state of Alabama, and it kind of jabs at Auburn because Auburn thought and Hugh Freeze thought they were going to have a chance to poach and start picking people off and jump on top of some of these guys. And Ryan Williams decommits for 2 weeks, and then as the horn sounded Wednesday night for the basketball game, he announces on Twitter his recommitment to Alabama, which is just amazing in all ways, shapes, and forms that he did it like that. But I think it just kind of establishes, like marking your territory, drawing the line in the sand if you're DeBoer and his staff, and saying like, hey, no, we're here. We're not letting these guys get away. We're going to continue this at Alabama. And also what helps and is tremendous, I don't know if you saw this or not, Michael Penix is out on social media telling wide receivers, you guys better get over here with Kalen DeBoer. Like, you guys better join him. If you're a wide receiver, why would you not want to play with this guy? I mean, this is the guy you want to play for. Michael Penix is a national runner-up quarterback,
right?
And a Heisman finalist and all these things. So, huge props to him as well for helping out Alabama through Coach DeBoer. And by the way, he's helping out, unlike one Alabama player who didn't help out, Marlon Humphrey. That's your Ravens guy, man. Like, what's he doing telling guys to enter into the portal? So I love the fact
I didn't see that.
He did a couple of weeks ago when Saban resigned. He on Twitter, he instantly said they better hit the portal. And everybody on Twitter is just like losing their mind. Like, why would you say that? Why would a former Bama player say that?
He changed his mind now.
Well, he could be, but yeah, he didn't get a lot of love for that.
Shame on you, Marlon. And I'm pulling for you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, look at you. You're Ravens, man.
I'm a Raven. Yeah, I'm a Raven, but I don't follow Marlon Humphrey, I don't think, on Twitter. I watched him play, though, at Hoover. Broadcasted some of his games back in the day. So, well, yeah, the Ryan Grubb's the receiver whisperer. I mean, the fact that Isaiah Bond didn't take the time to at least meet those guys,
I know,
it really shows me that, he was very short-sighted. I mean, who knows? You might have gotten the same deal. Maybe you would have got your lease Lamborghini and been able to buy a Bronco for a family member by staying at Alabama. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, you didn't wait around for the new coach. And Ryan Williams obviously met the guys and liked them and saw what he'd be doing in the offense. And so that was a huge one too. And when you look at the guy's numbers, I mean, this dude can play.
Yeah.
But DeBoer's on the road again, man. I mean, he's meeting, every coach in the state that he's got to meet. I just showed that picture a second ago. He was up at Central, kind of like, hey, we're here, and let's hang out. Let me come in here and lift some weights with you guys and high five.
Can I bring up one thing here that I get so jealous over this picture here?
What's that?
Look at DeBoer, the white underneath the gray.
You like that?
And then the hoodie. Look at the old school logo. Like the old A with the elephant coming through it.
Oh yeah.
Man, we need to bring that back. Like, that needs to be back in a more prominent way than what it is. Like, I love that logo.
Yeah, it's cool. I do too. I have it on some stuff. But yeah, I'm so old, Chad. When I was in school, that was the logo.
Yeah. Yeah. They were phasing out when I was in school. They had phased out of that one and moved on to the giant elephant with Alabama across in block lettering.
Yeah, that one didn't last very long.
No, it didn't.
It went to the script A. So let's talk about this guy, right? So now you got Noah Carter, you got Ryan Williams, you got Parker Brailsford, which was the #1 offensive lineman, obviously a center. Not that you need a guy that can snap the football in football, right? But he committed, and just like Carter, who was committed to Washington. He played for Washington last year, part of that Joe Moore award-winning line. They got speedy wide receiver, sometimes running back, Jermaine Bernard, to come in. And it all started with Austin Mack. And remember when Austin Mack committed, like Julian Sand decommitted, and it was like, we can't catch a break. And now all of a sudden you're starting to like, people are saying, you know what, man, we get it. Like they like to throw the football and they feel more comfortable with a guy that can see over top of the defensive line, someone that has played for them. And I look, I'm not discounting. Somebody in the comment section was like, oh, don't sit there and put down Julian Sand. I'm not. I know that like Drew Brees wasn't very tall. Bryce Young wasn't very tall in quarterback terms, right? And they were great. And I think Julian Saint's going to be great too, man. He spins the football. You can see the field. He's very accurate. But Nick Saban's not the coach anymore. These guys are, and they're offensive guys, and they want players that fit what scheme they run. And they're starting to get that done, which to me feels a lot better this week than it did last week.
Well, everybody, here's the problem. And I don't know, obviously, how things went down. DeBoer has been very open that he's going to rely on and use Nick Saban as much as he will allow. But we have to get to the Kalen DeBoer era.
Right.
Like, we can't have a 70% DeBoer era and a 30% Nick Saban leftover era. And we can't keep like comparing, well, this player, well, this guy, we lost this recruit. Because maybe Sand wouldn't have worked as well with DeBoer. Maybe he would have with Saban and Tommy Rees, but he wouldn't have with DeBoer and Grubb. And so that's one thing that Alabama fans, not that you guys are or aren't, but it's natural in this kind of a situation to always step back and say, well, Saban this and Saban that. And like you said, I mean, Dave Bartu, we mentioned this on a video the other day. He has said that based on his grading, Alabama could have and does have in some measurements the best coaching staff assembled, the best on-field coaching staff assembled in the entire country. And Nick Saban didn't have that. Like Tommy Rees was not a prolific offensive coordinator name. So yeah, you got to let these guys get their players in. And we were all doing it, right? We were all freaking out in the portal and people coming and going and what's going to happen and what are we going to do? And this is going to be awful. And now that it's kind of settled down, it still feels like Saban retired 7 years ago. It's been barely over 2 weeks.
I know.
And
whirlwind, man. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. And this is already what DeBoer has put together in just over 2 weeks. So things are looking great right now if you're Alabama.
And they could look a lot better because Jim Harbaugh just went to the NFL, something that he had been rumored to do for a few years, but he really went this time. And that means that Michigan's roster is open 30 days to the transfer portal. You wonder if Alabama is going to go there and try to pluck some players. I got a feeling that they're going to hire from within. And if they do that, then maybe the likelihood of a mass exodus is less than if they don't, right? But if you're Michigan and you're replacing Jim Harbaugh, you got an opportunity now to go get somebody like Brian Kelly. Would you want to do that or promote an assistant coach? Who knows? But Harbaugh to the Chargers tells me that 30 days of hell for Michigan's coming.
Yeah, it is. I'm really interested to see if they hire and promote from within with Sharon Moore. And what's interesting is Harbaugh's only been gone, a day or two, a couple of days. But if they were going to promote Moore, I feel like that would have been the instant. Like, why didn't that happen almost immediately? Because Harbaugh to the NFL has not been any kind of a secret. That's something that's been out there and he hasn't denied. And it's been floating around and almost a given for quite a while now. And so I find it kind of interesting that Michigan didn't just have that plan already in place if they were going to promote from within, which makes me wonder, are they kicking tires on some other guys in college football? Are they at least seeing who else might be interested? Are they trying to protect the portal? Are they going around to the players? Hey, are you going to stick around if Moore is our head coach, or are you going to bolt, or what? What are you thinking? It's just kind of interesting. But yes, Michigan. The only thing with Michigan is what are you really going to pluck from them from an offensive perspective?
Not well. I don't know about
offensive line. That's about it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, offensive line plus defensive line. I mean,
but that's what I mean. Defense, but offense. There's not really, unless you grab an O lineman. The defense is where you're going to try to take something from Michigan, because that's where they were loaded this year.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's definitely interesting, to say the least. But we knew it was coming, and honestly, I wonder if Kalen DeBoer would have ended up there if they would have lost to Alabama and Harbaugh would have been out right before Saban. Right, it's just a question to think about. Now, here's the final topic for today, and I know a lot of you guys have seen this, but Kayshon Boutte, former LSU wide receiver, has been arrested on charges related to illegal online gambling. And I don't know what this means. 17 on NCAA football and at least 6 on LSU. I wonder if, does this mean that you can't bet online? I thought that was kind of legal now, right? Maybe I'm wrong.
Depends on the state.
Could this be more than that? I mean, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that it's an issue. I mean, you're talking about protecting the integrity of sports. And when you have players betting on their teams, maybe even if he's not on the team, he's going to have inside information because he just played there. And then if he's on the team, that's a whole different issue, right? But I hated to see that. And remember, there were rumors that Alabama was going to bring him over. Remember that?
Yeah, sure do. This is a thing, though, that's going to continue to be out of control, because once this opens up with more and more states, and it's already happening. I mean, you're seeing it. Guys are betting illegally, and it is a state to state thing. So like DraftKings and FanDuel and whatnot, those are all, based on state law as to whether or not you can gamble. And the cell phone towers will pick up your location, or if you're on a laptop, you have to activate your location. And then that tells the site if you're allowed to place a bet or not. And then there's fantasy versus actual sports gambling, which are two different things and two different sets of rules. And then there are the underground sites, and those are the websites that are, black market or whatever you want to call it, where you can still go place a bet. And that's, instead of doing the old school, you call up the bookie and give it to them over the phone. You're just placing it on a website somewhere and running it that way, and then settling up, over on the side. So that it's really interesting. The whole thing with the Iowa and Iowa State players had come out. There were a whole lot of NFL players over the last handful of years that have been busted for this. Crazy enough, a few of them from Alabama, with Jamison Williams and Calvin Ridley. There was one more too, I want to say. But anyway, it's just something that is going to be interesting, because sports gambling has existed forever, and it's going to continue. I mean, it's promoted now on ESPN and Fox and, whatever. It's everywhere. They talk about it. Announcers talk about it now. But it's going to be interesting to see how this is policed or controlled, because you're not just talking about NCAA violations here, right? Like, you're talking about legal and criminal violations, by doing this. And maybe I'm using some incorrect legal terms, but but it's going to be interesting to watch and see how this stuff plays out. I personally think we probably just cracked the seal on what's probably a gigantic number of players who have at some point bet on the sports they play in. It's almost too hard not to, with the way it's promoted and thrown in your face these days.
Yep. And they've got to be careful with that. No, you're 100% right. But Louisiana catfish can be a dangerous place when you're breaking the law, right? And you found that out.
Yeah.
when LSU and Ohio State played in a national championship game.
I did.
That was back when
I was sober.
you were a scalper.
I was sober, and I found out.
Like back in your scalper days.
Yeah, scalper days. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, way back.
They don't like scalping in New Orleans. Just FYI, if anybody.
It was like you couldn't be within a certain number of feet of the dome. They busted you, took your tickets, and sold them, and then you went to jail.
The story is literally, I'm on one corner near the Superdome. You had to be on the other corner. I didn't know that. I see other people scalping, and guy comes up and says, "Yeah, I'll take them." And then it's an undercover cop. He was like, "Yeah, you got to be on that side of the street." I'm like, "You're really going to arrest me just because I'm not over there? Like, that's it? Like, you just tell me to go over there. I'll go over there. I wasn't trying to fight you." And I got to go into the underground Superdome and then to a lobby at the precinct, and missed the national championship.
You were in there with Otis, the town drunk. All right, well, look, now that you're done scalping, for years you've been doing the mortgage game. ChadwickAnderson.com. You changed your name after that incident and cleaned up your act. Tell everyone about what you do.
Yeah, don't mention catfish in New Orleans. How about that? ChadwickAnderson.com. You guys have been great. Appreciate everyone who's reached out and some of your stories and questions and all those great things. So if you have a need on purchasing or refinancing, or if you're looking to save some money, don't get focused on the rate you have. So many people say, "Oh, I'm at 3%. I don't want to touch my mortgage." I literally helped 3 people last month who were all below 4%, and they still took a higher rate, and they saved $400, $600, and $3,300 a month. So again, just let's look at the situation together. Scan the QR code, email, website, phone number there on the screen.
Get it done, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. And again, we appreciate everyone hanging out here on the channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Roll Tide, everybody. We will talk to you again when something breaks or tomorrow.